Okay, so I have here for you my first thumbnail enlargement. When I let go of my Apple Pencil here, you're going to see how it's going to fly through a time lapse. And I want you to see that, and then I'm going to go through it really quick. So I've chosen to work through mine on the iPad, and I want you to do the same. So your first two thumbnails, you can draw them on paper all you want, but then you're going to come back and draw them on your iPad because a super good reason. You are then going to be able to come in, and I have the layer, I used a photo layer, you can see here, of my sketch, and now I'm coming through. This is still pretty close to a thumbnail sketch quality drawing, although every single time you should be improving your idea, kind of the layout, refining the placement of things. So I did sort of pay attention to and think about, oh, you can see, I was like, why am I going in reverse? But I did change something, and then I came back in and drew it again. So I thought about where I was putting the flames, how I wanted to weave the vine around, but because I'm planning the background, that's what we're doing right now, is we're talking about dividing up the background space. So I shaded in the letter, and then I started to play with lines. Now I'm going to show you in a separate thing, or maybe I've already shown you by this point, how to make a straight line in fresco. I probably already would have by now. So I pressed and held my line. That goes so fast. To get this nice straight line, because I started to really like how I saw the diagonals going from the M, and I thought, oh, that just really increases that mirror feeling. So I had each corner going diagonal to diagonal, and then I thought, well, what the heck, I'll just throw them down the middle too. Now these sections that I have on the background creates a breaking of the plane even further between the positive and the negative. So that's what you're doing at this stage, is going ahead and breaking up the space. And you're not doing it in just one way. Okay, so that was one, but I also have this one that I tried, which is just more of a straight up grid. I mean, it's not a square grid, but it's closest to the cube you can get when you have a rectangular background. Okay, so I also did the same. Here's the same thing with my other design. You can see how I worked a lot on my M. Still not quite perfect, but a lot better. I used my 4. I'll go back and show that again, but I drew my 4. I worked on it a lot. Then I copied and pasted it and moved it all around. Okay, that's why I love these apps. In the planning stages, that saves so much time. Like, for real. I mean, so much time. Okay, hold on. What am I doing here? Okay, here we go. All right, so when I am doing this, you can see that I start to get in here, and I'm using my perspective lines to draw my M. Okay, here I am. So I draw my 4, I pare it down a little bit, then I start selecting it, and I'm moving it, and I'm using my selection tools and my transformation tools to turn it and move it and shape it again. Then I'm moving and shaping the other 4. This was so fun, let me tell you. This is a great way to build a composition. So then I'm spacing out and moving my other ones around. It was so great. Then, okay, so I'm cleaning things up, I'm redrawing parts. Oh, it's the next thing. Okay, so that was the drawing, right? So then, if I go back to my recents and my camera roll, first I tried this, which is really very similar. Okay, so I divided it in, this one I divided, oh, it looks a little better, doesn't it? 3 by 4, I don't know, somehow it looks a little bit more even, but kind of the same idea, just a basic grid. Where is it? Then I did this one too, which uses the point that I had my M disappearing to in using my perspective, and then other lines. And you may have noticed at the end of the drawing video, I used the line that was coming up, sort of like a guideline on this 4, to draw right up to that perspective line also. So that was pretty hot, I thought. So and then I added the arc because I wanted to bring that line around of them all kind of radiating on that. So when I start working in the background, I can have that circle edge sort of be a different colored zone too. Okay, so that's what your assignment is going to be, is to enlarge using your iPad, because you'll just make copies. Like if I go to my fresco now, and I go to my home button, you'll see that I made my first enlargement. Down here you can see, oh, you can't see, just kidding. You can't see the full title. Thumbnail enlargement 1, okay? Then I made thumbnail enlargement 2. Then when I was in this screen, I used these buttons to duplicate, okay? Then I renamed and I started working on one with red in the background, and then I worked on another with red, you know, made a different background, then I made another. So that's how you're going to make and play around with different copies and save your different ideas. Okay, so that's the next step, trying to piece in different background ideas for your paintings. Well, for your enlargements is what I meant to say.